3 with special guest
me, Calvin
Heimburg. Ladies and gentlemen, this, I believe, is the first time I've ever had a co-host in one of my random late night recaps.
Well, I'm honored to be the first one. Does that just mean like everyone else has turned you down, or like?
No, it means I've never really asked anyone, because usually these get started somewhat late, and I have no problem just go babbling on and on and on. And it would make sense to invite other people, but I haven't been doing that. So let's double check. First of all, CW Disc Golf.
Dang.
Is that Cole by chance?
Yeah, that's Cole.
All right. So what we're going to do, and a couple of quick disclaimers. First of all, I'm going to do a few housekeeping items where I'm going to go out and promote the link and let everybody know that this is going on. So bear with us as we do that. Second of all, this is not a recap that's going to show you highlights. We're going to talk all about the scores and things that happened today, but not necessarily showing you any disc golf footage. And so if you're here for footage, I'll just say you're going to be disappointed. I don't have footage to give you. We just have Calvin's memory, a little bit of my memory, and then you disc to reference.
That's a lot.
It could be. So I'm going to go out here, and I want to share the link with everybody. So if you guys could do the same, that would be great. I'm going to put some information out there. Please let us know if the everything sounds all right. This is sometimes called the DG Guy Hangout. Live show / podcast / recap.
I'm hanging out with the DG guy.
You are. Tell everybody where we are. What's going on? How about you do that?
We are in Augusta, Georgia for the PDGA Champions Cup, first major of the year. Currently, I don't remember what hotel this is that Terry's in, but I guess I'm probably not supposed to share that.
You can.
Room 211. So if you know what art this is from, which hotel in Augusta, 211, come knocking. You'll find us.
Yeah, and at 211 is where you'll it's not much of a clue, because it feels like almost probably every hotel in Augusta has some kind of golf on the wall, right? Actually, I don't even know what's back there. Oh yeah, that's golf. It's a sand trap. I'm looking at. Would you assume that's Augusta National? There's a overview map of a golf course.
It looks like an overview map of Augusta. That seems to be pretty typical of every house in Augusta, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
If you don't have one, they probably like burn your house down or something.
Yeah, exactly. So if you could, let us know. I'm going to try and get out to YouTube here and make sure that everything that you guys say, everything looks and sounds all right. All right. Look good. Sound good. Thank you, Pilcher. See that we got a little...
Dang,
a little chat. There's people tuning in. All right, so let's get to it. How about if you're good with it, we're going to start on the FPO side like I do every day.
Okay.
And I know that you took in a little bit of FPO action, so it's going to be great because we'll have additional insight that you saw out there as well. So first, I'm going to click on this. Oh, we got to get some branding on here. This is the big time stuff that I worked on. Look at this. I think you're. Okay, I didn't put your name on there, but there you go. All right, so we're going to start with what we saw on FPO today. First and foremost, we've got a new co-leader.
Yeah, looks like we got a tight battle there for first with Paige and Kristen. Pretty exciting finish to the round. I mean, I didn't see any of the round, but just looking at the scores, you got Paige finishing birdie, and Kristen going par eagle to stay tied for the lead.
Yeah, and I know this sounds a little... Maybe it sounds a little too obvious, but I talked at great length last night. To me, it's always interesting when you look at how the rounds finish out and what that means. And I use the example largely of, at least in FPO, at the toboggan, and how I feel like hole 18 at the toboggan, it's almost always a 3, right? Yeah. And so the tournament kind of ends on 17. In this case, and we look at it, it repeated itself today. Almost everyone birdies 18 in the FPO division. Yeah. So if you kind of count on that as a birdie, you start thinking about, okay, what happens just before that? And you, again, looking back on round 2 yesterday, almost everybody birdied 17, couple eagles. Round 1, it was very much the same. Kristen now has taken an eagle on round 1, a birdie on round 2, and an eagle on round 3. So if you're tied or down 1 to Kristen going into 18,
it's over.
Your chances aren't nearly as good. So that's just something for me that I always think is interesting to keep an eye on. Right now, though, I think it's pretty safe to say after today's play, It's a 2-woman race, right?
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's going to be either Paige or Kristen. I mean, unless, yeah, Sarah can come out with the best round of the tournament. But yeah, I mean, 7 strokes back, it seems pretty unlikely, especially with the way Kristen and Paige are playing and how they separated themselves from the field.
Yeah, and I think about it would be one thing if one woman were out in front by 7 or 8 and you think, okay, they have a bad day, you have a hot round. Hey, anything could happen. But in this case, Sarah or Owen or anyone else in the field would need twice as much help. They need to not only play lights out, but they need 2 of the top women in the world to play terrible, right?
For sure. Yeah, it seems very unlikely. So it's probably going to be one of them. Hopefully both of them are close coming down the stretch.
And then when I did see you at one point today, you had gone out there. I think you watched a little bit of who was on Madison's card, what her card consisted of. Who was on that card for starters?
It was Madison Walker. It was Cynthia Ricciardi. I'm not sure if that's her last name. Kate from whatever Europe. And I don't actually know the 4th woman's name.
Okay.
I've never met her before, and I didn't introduce myself. So I'm not sure who she was, but yeah, she had pretty good backhand and forehand.
Okay. So you saw holes, what, roughly 12 through 18 or so?
Yep.
And now how much rain and weather were they still dealing with? Because they had gone out a full, hour? Yeah, at least a full hour prior to the lead card of FPO, who cleared up around hole 6. So they must have been playing in through it almost all the way through hole 12 or so still, right?
Yeah, I know it had stopped raining by the time I showed up to the park, so I'm not sure. Maybe there was mostly maybe it ended at the front 9 for them, but it was not raining when I showed up on hole 12.
Okay. So, was it Luca maybe from Norway?
No, I don't.
Do you know? Are you familiar with Katrina Allen?
I know. Heard of her? I've heard of Katrina Allen.
Arya Castrita, maybe? That might have been it, because that's probably the only name who isn't necessarily out there playing every weekend.
I want to say scroll a little farther down. I'm trying to think.
Was she left-handed? That'd be Emily Beach.
No.
Allie Smith's an Am World champ, who you may or may not have known or recognized.
Yeah.
Either way. It doesn't.
You could sit there and click one of them, the people we know, and then go to their card, and we could solve this mystery. But
yeah, we'll do that another day. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at some of the statistics. What I thought we talked about, to me, one of the biggest things that jumped out actually is Paige struggled mightily on hole 1 the last 2 days. In fact, she opened the tournament, I believe, with a triple bogey.
Wow.
We're going to double check that. I believe she opened the tournament. Is this an easy way to look? Oh, it is. Hey, what do you know? Triple bogey 7.
Yep.
And then, had a really slow start, actually, to the entire tournament. Yesterday, it was a little bit better, but still a bogey and then a slow start on the front. And then today, look at that contrast.
Yeah, much better start. I mean, just a par, but it's better than a bogey or a triple bogey.
Yeah, and from there, one thing that jumped out, and it was a question I didn't get asked of her during the final interview, was that it seems like she fits into the category of playing the back 9 better. Mm-hmm. And again, when I think about how a tournament closes out, I think about where are you most comfortable. If you look at where she picked up a lot of her birdies in round 1, round 1. Most of them were from holes 9 on. Round 2, they were all from 8 on. Round 3, most of them were from 8 on. So I love to see that and then compare that to how somebody else was playing it, like Kristen, and see, hey, does she have an advantage? Do you have a certain level of confidence going into the final holes, where Kristen, not so much today, kind of meh.
Yeah, really any day. She's kind of did more damage on the front.
Exactly. So I don't know. That's all random speculation, but those are when I do actually dive into a little bit of the UDisc and try to formulate something of a story, as much as I'm not a writer. Those are things that jump out to me. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, I mean, it seems reasonable, but the front 9 means just as much as the back 9.
Which is funny. I said that last night, that we always think about the last hole or two where you missed a putt.
Mm-hmm.
You missed a putt on hole 3. You missed a putt on hole 7. That putt meant just as much as it did on 18. It just
sure.
feels more pressure packed, right?
Yep, just feels more because you can kind of see where that miss is taking you. Or
All right. So, what was the vibe? What were things like on the card? What were you experiencing when you were out there? And were you officially caddying, or were you just kind of walking along with the women?
No, I was caddying for Madison. I caddied from whatever hole 12 on. Once I showed up, waited for the rain to stop because obviously it's way easier as a caddy to caddy once the rain stops.
So as part of your caddy duties, you're like, hey, you just weather the storm, literally, and then I'll show up and I'll carry your bag when it's nice and dry out.
when the rain stops. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a next level caddy tip.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to stay dry, don't caddy in the rain.
Was she expecting you to come out there?
I don't think so. I slept in. I don't know. I might wake up early, but I didn't wake up till like 10, so I didn't really. I mean, they teed off I think at like 8:40 something, so they were well into their round by the time I even woke up. So I don't think she was expecting it. Maybe wanted it. I don't know with the rain, but I showed up eventually and carried the bag for the last third of the round. So I did something.
When it was done raining.
Yeah, when it was done raining. That wasn't like intended. It's just the way it happened.
That was just happened to be the timing.
Yeah.
I was, we opened the show, the broadcast today, talking just about, of course, it was raining out when the round got started, but what an advantage it is if you're not huddling down underneath your umbrella, if you just even have somebody either wiping your disc or holding the umbrella, just doing all of those things because you run out of hands, so to speak, and how advantageous it really can be to have a caddy when you're out there. So certainly some were able to take advantage of that and some not so much today.
Yeah, some not so much. But definitely an advantage to have a caddy when it's raining. As Terry said, I mean, you run out of hands and it's just easier for you to keep all your stuff dry with the person holding an umbrella over your bag the whole time. And it's easier for you to stay dry as well.
What do you feel like the actual playing conditions were like, even when it was done raining? We've talked a little bit about, mud, slippage, tee pads, just all those types of things. Did you feel like there was any significant, challenge that was out of the ordinary for post rain?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely wet out there today. I wouldn't say it presented like any kind of crazy challenge. I might be the wrong person to ask because I don't feel like I slip quite as much as other people. I don't wear these aggressive shoes and rely on like mega treads to stay attached to the ground. So, I didn't have any issues today. I mean, it was definitely some wet and soupy spots on the course, and I could see how it would affect some people because I know some people really rely on good grip to the ground. But for me personally, it didn't really affect much.
I'm going to go back real quick and take a look at some of the other things that I think are surprising. Would have to be that one of our top players in the world, in Katrina Allen, seems to be struggling this weekend.
Yeah.
And I guess if we probably drill down a little bit, we could maybe even figure out exactly what appears to be the problem. If we look at some of the stats, looks like she has a lot of very short putts that, she's probably just cleaning up what unfortunately sometimes are for bogey. Sometimes those are for par. She ended really strong, picking up birdies on 17 and 18 today.
Yep.
Got the birdie on 18 yesterday, got the birdie on the opening day. But it looks like hole 17, 16, and 17 are also giving her a little bit of struggle as well.
Yeah. Here, scroll back up to the top. Yeah, I mean, I think that really says it. I mean, normally we think of Katrina Allen, she's 20th, 57% in fairway hits, and normally her driving stats are one of the best, if not the best in the division. So it kind of looks like, to me, she's probably struggling a little off the tee box and having to scramble a little more. Putting's not terrible at 77% C1X, and then it looks like she's made a couple circle two putts as well. But 61% scramble. I would say it's probably for her, what she's struggling with is getting off the tee and just being off fairway.
Yeah, and I think she usually rates as one of the highest. I don't know if all credit, as always, to Hannah Macbeth, who I think has talked about just how dominant Katrina has been in that specific category, and then dubbing her the fairway goddess. I don't know if the number is 87%, 83%, maybe it's something like that. I think when it's been 83% or better, like she never loses or something like that. So to see her at 57% and not maybe just so much the percentage that it is, because I feel like those can be a little subjective out here, and everyone feels a little different about the fairway hit. But regardless of what it is, it's 20th.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So clearly she's not performing up to the standards against the rest of the field, and that's got to feel very different for her.
Yeah. I would say that's not a place that she's used to being.
So it is not looking too good for her in terms of her overall run at the event.
No.
And when we take a look at, let's just take a look at the scores overall. You see a lot of people struggling. I guess what I would say to that is, we're looking at all of this. I was calling this Peach. Sherbert.
Okay, Peach Sherbert. That's a nice way of putting the orange C, but
I mean that's like orange. What's the light orange? I mean, that's not flash. Is that peach?
Sure, we'll call it Peach.
Sherbert?
I don't know. Someone in the comments will tell us what it actually is.
Well, I just So, but when I'm looking at the front, not only is it play more difficult generally, but this is when the rain was.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can see it definitely affected them. I was told that it was gully washing out there. So it was raining hard at some points, and fairways were definitely puddling up. Water was kind of struggling to drain off of some of the fairways. But fortunately for me, I didn't have to experience that.
No, you didn't. One thing that is happening, we saw Kristen on the lead card after day one, and then it's just been now a rotating cast. She's been the only constant. And so, yesterday, of course, Paige shot well to then get to her today. And so Paige will remain. But Kristen's been there consistently. She's now been caught by Paige. But we're going to substitute out a few of the other women that were there and now put in Sarah Hokum and Owen Scoggins. Both not power throwers.
No.
Both more known so for their accuracy. Owen probably even a little bit more for her putting. Sarah a little bit more for her, fairway shaping. But kind of interesting to see that it certainly isn't power.
No, I feel like this course in particular, I know at least in the MPO division, power isn't really necessary on the course. It's more about staying in the middle, and I'm assuming it's the same way for the FPO division. It's just keeping yourself in the fairway and preventing yourself from having to fight to get pars, and making par easy and then giving yourself birdie chances and trying to capitalize on those.
Yeah, and really look at how Owen closed it out. I mean, obviously struggled on 17 today, but I mean, she was closing out very strong. You see that they both had similar results on 7 and 8. So yeah. And then also who was on the lead card today, we had Haley King, who just, I felt like obviously was off to a really rough start and then really never got it together. She started out and just kind of was digging herself a hole throughout. And unfortunately, Alexis, who was on the card, was almost mimicking her in a lot of the same ways. So realistically, again, a couple of 8s way out in front, it's going to be really tough. The question is, does one have the edge over the other when it comes to Kristen and Paige? And if you were a betting man, which by the way, are you?
No, not really.
Okay. But if you were a betting man, who do you feel like has an advantage?
I would put my money on Kristen. She's consistent, and I think she's due for a win. I mean, nothing against Paige. She has more accolades than anyone in the division ever. So I feel like she's probably the smart bet, but I think Kristen's a good bet here. I feel like she's just going to keep it nice and smooth, hopefully score well on the front 9, and then put the pressure on Paige to do something on the back 9. And I feel like on this course, once you start trying to push is kind of when you get in more trouble than you want to get into. Yeah,
we saw a few missed putts by I think to yesterday's round specifically, a few somewhat on the shorter side missed putts by Kristen that you certainly wouldn't anticipate. Today, I know, for instance, on hole 15, she had gone a little bit deep. She had a downhill look for birdie. She went a little bit deep, and then she missed the, circle's edge or a little inside of that putt coming back. And then you can always second guess and be like, oh, well, should she have run at that birdie putt in the first place? but you expect her to make the comebacker. So, some of those situations might get played out a little bit differently. If she's sitting on a 2-stroke lead tomorrow in that exact same hole, in that exact same position, maybe she doesn't go for the putt.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, but I just feel like putting is one of those things is when, as a player, if you're feeling good about it, even if it's kind of ridiculous to run, you're gonna run it. And honestly, Kristen's a good enough putter to where I feel like she feels pretty confident in making a comebacker, especially when she runs it. I don't think she'll think too much about one miss.
Today we again, and it was unintentional, and maybe you guys feel a little different from the longer tee, but on 17. She found herself going the right side route, and it wasn't intentional. She hit a tree, kicked right, and then that happened to be a good enough position where she was able to scramble herself and get up and down for the par. What does that right side route on 17 look like from the MPOT? Is it tempting?
There's like a really sneaky gap to get to it. I feel like you could go for it, but I don't know if it's really worth it. There's a little OB creek running over there, so it's like you nick the wrong little twig and you kick in the creek and you're really gonna hate yourself. But once you get over there, it's very open. It's like a clean runway straight up to the pin. So if you accidentally end up over there, it's kind of a blessing because it's a really easy par. And if you're in a good enough spot with good enough footing, you may even be able to throw a good enough shot to get up there for birdie.
Yeah, and Mason, I guess, clipped something. I was thinking he still had a look at birdie, if I recall. Yeah. Either way, Philo credited you, and I don't want to get too far off tangent before we jump into MPO, but Philo, I believe, credited you today with saying that was the longest drive he's ever seen on that hole from your shot on 17.
I don't think it is the longest drive ever on that hole, but it was definitely a good one. I mean, it was down the middle, up almost to the top of the hill. I could see the top of the basket from my lie, so that made the approach much easier than normal. Anytime you can see the basket, it's easier to throw to it as opposed to just trying to pick out a tree in the background and get close to it.
Yeah, I'm Marcus Sahlstrom. Mm-hmm. Did you ever see him play or familiar with him playing from yesterdecade? That was before your time.
Yeah, it's before my time.
He used to throw piranhas like hundreds of feet, I think, and or birdies or piranhas or something like that. But when I think of that hole, I think of him, and however close he put it. That was probably 2005 when this or 2007 when this course was first installed. I feel like that's when I saw one of the greatest shots ever. Not to take away from yours, but
fair enough. He wasn't playing from that tee pad though. That's a newer tee pad.
Really?
Yep. Go roll back the footage. It's newer than 2007.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure I played that hole before. Like I think the FPO pad
was the original one.
Original pad.
Okay, that's possible. Okay, so that is possible. I don't recall. I do know he's thrown. He was also like a near world distance record holder, so it makes sense that he's had some pretty big throws there too. All right, I'm going to take another quick look if there was anything else on the FPO side. If you guys have anything that jumps out from the FPO side, maybe we'll read up just a few of the comments. We can't keep on top of all of them. Some people talking, saying, let's go, Kristen. Hey, Jordan, one of the Lynn's twins, right? Over there in, you haven't been in Florida to see them and what they're doing?
Nope. I think they were at Throwdown the Mountain, but I really haven't been playing much in Florida the past couple of years.
Exactly. Well, we're certainly excited to see what they can have. They've jumped onto the scene very quickly. Mm-hmm. And somehow I think in like 30 events or 100 events they've played, whatever it's been, it feels like every event they're just jockeying back and forth, one or the other. They tied at Throwdown, and they're 1 point away from each other in their rating. Is that not crazy?
No, it's pretty crazy.
Like literally 1 point.
Player.
So that means for every 10 rounds they play, if they played 10 rounds, one person would beat the other by a single stroke over a 10-round matchup.
That's wild. That's very close.
Anyway, so we're looking forward to seeing more from the twins there. All right. Paige and Kristen putting stats. That's something we'll take a quick look at. Here, let me jump you guys back over to the stats. You don't have to see my face. Putting stats here today. Let's go to some player stats. Drill down a little bit on Paige. Let's see where she's leading in categories. First of all, parked, circle 2 in regulation. I mean, she's leading most categories or right in the top. No real big surprise there, right?
Yeah, second and fifth, 88% C1X, and then 25% C2. That's good.
Okay, so 88% and 25%. Let's compare that with what we're seeing from Kristen. 76% and 21%. So
yeah,
the upper hand a little bit by Pierce there.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, she's beating her in both categories. I mean, the 88% is significant over 76. So, I mean, I don't put too much weight on the 4% in circle 2. That's probably the difference of like one putt, maybe. But the 12% on C1X is pretty big. If you're beating someone, I mean, that's 1 out of every 10 essentially, roughly. One extra make. So yeah, I mean that could be the difference coming down the stretch tomorrow. But
yeah, I'm looking at what we saw round 1. Kristen with a couple of her long putts, the 49-footer on 3, and then hole 18. Of course, she made the really long one. She didn't do anything crazy yesterday, and then today she had the long one on hole number 7 as well. So yeah, well, I think one of the most exciting things is those two in particular. On any given hole, you're not surprised if one of them's hitting a middle or long C2 putt.
Yeah.
Like, they're exciting for that exact reason, because you never count them out on any given putt. And I think we'll be treated to a little bit more of that. I mean, is it really cool? Yeah. Okay. 7. I remember. Okay. From the left side. Yeah. It was an incredible putt that she made from over on that left side. Strokes gained, where we talk about, I don't know is there an easier place to find all of the, yeah. Here, I was looking at this yesterday. The dark blue being areas in which you're leading or a top performer. You see the overall strokes gained, tee to green for Paige there, along with Kristen. So they're getting a lot of the work done there. C1X putting seems to be a spot where Kristen, surprisingly, and just knowing how good she is, that's a very surprising statistic.
Yep. But yeah, even with her struggling there compared to her norm, she's tied for the lead. So if she can put that together tomorrow, I mean, she'll maybe be able to separate more on the front 9 than she even has been. May make it easy to kind of walk down the stretch.
So, we talk about the accolades that Paige has and all the titles that she has. Kristen won a U.S. women's title. That's the one major that she has.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. I don't want to sell her short. I believe that's the one major that she has. And, is there a comfort level, especially as Paige has been hunting you down? I mean, Paige was, cards and cards deep, had a great round yesterday, had a really great round today to now tie. Like, is that at all intimidating, or like you just can never counter out, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, Paige definitely, you can almost never counter out. She's capable of shooting insanely good rounds. So maybe that's in the back of Kristen's head, but I mean, Kristen's a great player too. I don't honestly think she's thinking too much about Paige chasing her down. I mean, Kristen won multiple events against Paige last year. So I feel like she's probably feeling pretty confident. She probably feels like she can improve on her C1X putting, and I'm sure she knows what she needs to do to go out there and win tomorrow.
Yeah, looking back, the one major she had taken down is the 2019 U.S. Women's. I do recall that exactly. So, and she's already won a few times this year and has performed very well. So no real surprise there.
Yep.
All right. You can change to all rounds there. Oh, there's all sorts of things I could do. You should look up the whole tournament stats. Don't think Macbeth will talk about those. Thunderstorms possible. That is something I wanted to quickly take a look at. We're going to sidetrack since that screen's already up and available. We can take a look at, maybe not. I'm just going to break stuff. Hold on. What am I doing?
I don't know. What's on your mind?
How did I lose? Oh, there we go. I was going to go to the weather and take a really quick look, because we can come back, because I did get a quick production note tonight saying, hey, there is a chance of weather, but it doesn't seem like it would be as bad. So while we're here, because this is what we do on Saturday nights from hotels, while having beverages, is you look at weather. This is what my life's become. Calvin.
Weather.com.
Yes. Do you have a preferred that's not weather.com?
No, this is great.
Good. I'm glad you like it. All right, we're going to type in Appling. And let's see what we get. I feel like we're rolling a dice right now. Yeah. What was it like? So I've been at my hotel for a couple hours. You just came over. What's it like outside right now? It wasn't raining or anything?
Nope, no rain.
Okay.
It was nice. It was nice out.
Let's take a look. Holy cow, I need some ad blockers or something. Sunday morning. Mostly cloudy. Looks like 25% chance of rain. Not on.
Are you on the right day?
Yeah, now we're on the right day.
Yeah,
30.
Ooh, looks like it picks up in the afternoon, though.
What? Uh-oh. You guys got away with one today. Maybe not tomorrow?
Maybe not tomorrow. It looks like 50 plus percentage points, starting at 4. 55 to 83 or 55 to 70 something.
Yeesh.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Hopefully we don't get any of those lightning bolts.
Yeah. And so with all of that, I think this is a great way. We'll segue over to the men's side.
Yep. Sure. We can do that.
There's you.
There's me.
So 3 guys from the 1050 club and 1 not from the 1050 club. We'll get back to you. So let's start. What do you know about Gavin Babcock?
Honestly, I don't know too much about Gavin. I don't know if I've ever even actually played around with him.
Okay.
He's been at all the tour events. Obviously, based on his scores here, he's got game, and he's put together 3 solid rounds so far. So it'll be pretty cool to see what he can do on going into the final round. He's a few back of the rest of us, but I mean he's right there in the mix. I mean, with a good round, he could definitely win. But it's gonna take a really hot round because he's got to make up 4 on Rick, 3 on me, and 2 on Chris. So. Yeah,
and I mean, if you guys just hit copy and paste from what you did today, he would erase that deficit on over the first 6 holes. I mean, he opened up 6 under. Mm-hmm. And, you'd be right there in the mix is my point. You had gone 1 down through that stretch.
Yep.
Dickerson 2, Wysocki 3. And then he had as many birdies as all 3 of you combined.
Yeah.
100% scramble, which you're probably not doing a lot of when you're playing as well as he was, but 100% C1X and 100% from C2, which is only 1 for 1. But again, if you don't, the one time you're outside the circle, you make it.
Yeah.
You're having a good day.
Yeah, he had a really good day, really clean day, and looks like he capitalized on all of his opportunities. So he did what he needed to do to get himself on the lead card, which I'm sure this is his first time on a lead card at a major. So I'm sure he's pretty stoked about that. I'm really excited to get to play with him, possibly for the first time. If I played with him before, sorry I forgot, Gavin, but but yeah, I think it'll be pretty exciting. I know he's been traveling around with Gannon Burr.
Yep.
So,
also out of Iowa. And
yep.
They also sponsored by Prodigy. And so have that connection as well. Looking at is a little bit, we'll call it slow. I mean, a solid, but somewhat slow first round. Picked up 4 birdies to close out the day, 4 out of 5 holes. And then the next day said, okay, well, I'm going to pick up all the birdies in the front.
Mm-hmm.
So he did that on day 2. And then he kind of did a little mixture of both during today's round, but clearly the front, he's been comfortable with the last 2 days. To think he's birdied 11 out of 12 opportunities over the last 2 days to open the round.
It's really impressive. You have to throw very well on the front to score on the front. I feel like the front 9, there's some pretty tough par 3s out there, so you have to throw really good tee shots to be giving yourself reasonable looks at birdie. So he's thrown the disc very well.
Okay, now let's take a look. Let's compare with a little bit of what we've seen from someone like yourself.
Whoa. Why is there no blue on the front?
Oh, yeah, I would have tried to get some blue there.
At least there's no orange,
Yeah, you had that on, and to note, as of right now, because I looked earlier, Wysocki 1 bogey. That was hole 5 during the opening round. You've had 2 bogeys. Gavin, we just saw a moment ago, has had 1 bogey. Staying bogey near bogey free. That's a huge accomplishment in itself out there, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're throwing well, it's pretty easy to, minimize bogeys. A lot of the holes, like bogey almost isn't even like an option once you throw a good tee shot. So if you're throwing well off the tee, you don't really have to work that hard to get whatever a par. So I think that's probably what we've seen out of a lot of the competitors at the top.
But if you're not throwing well off the tee, bogey it's almost automatic. Like hole 5.
It happens very quick. When you throw bad tee shots and get into the rough, it's really hard to progress down the fairways, and it makes pars very difficult to get.
Of the 3 rounds that you've had, and I see that, so you've had a 10, an 8, and an 11. It might be obvious to say, well, today was your favorite round, but what round do you feel like you played the best golf? Was it today?
I would say round 1.
Okay.
Today was another kind of weird day. I mean, honestly, rounds 2 and 3 both were very slow off the start. Haven't really been putting anything together on the front 9. I mean, today I was 3 down on the front 9. Yesterday I was 2 down on the front 9. So I really have struggled to score there on the front, and kind of picked it up on the back. Was able to get eagle on 14 back-to-back days, which kind of helped. But yeah, I think I need to clean up my front 9. I mean, I'm not getting bogeys, so maybe clean up's the wrong term, but I need to throw better tee shots to give myself better opportunities.
Well, you've been no Gavin Babcock on the front 9, that's for sure.
No, I've not. I don't know if anyone has been as good as him on the front 9.
All right, let's take a look at a few others, a couple others that you're playing with tomorrow in Wysocki, what he's been doing, if there's anything that jumps out. Anything that jumps out from his rounds. He kind of smattered them throughout. He did it in round 2, and he did it in round 1. I mean, he got on a few little streaks there, but just seems like all around. I mean, somebody said to me just before I interviewed him this evening to close out the coverage, somebody said it seemed like he was mad out there. I said, yes, because if he doesn't shoot 19 under, he's mad, right? Like, he just has a very high expectation
for sure
every single round, every single shot.
Yeah, I mean, imagine how upset you'd be if you didn't shoot 19 when you make like every putt inside 50 feet. All you have to do is put it 50 feet from the basket, and it's in.
True, and he had a couple opportunities today. Did he airball? I think 2 putts.
What? I didn't play with Ricky today.
Oh yeah, well yeah, you were in the wrong spot. That's right. Yeah, he airballed. I want to say from. Gosh, he had, I think, 2 circle 2 putts, because he had 0 circle 2 makes today. Whoops, 0.
Wow,
that's not like Ricky, right? I mean, you count on a couple.
And look, he had 2 circle 1 putts on that hole right there, hole 12.
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember. Well, hole 12, hole 12 was one of them then, right? Where he must have been putting for the eagle.
Yep.
Yeah, that would make sense. But there was I want to say it was either 10, maybe it was hole 10. It was some other hole where he had a very makeable putt, and I think he literally airballed it. And I was like, really? Ouch.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I wasn't there to witness it today, but he's obviously still scoring, even though, I mean, that's pretty low for him, 85% C1X. Or maybe I just have this unrealistic image of Ricky, but...
Well, I mean, he's in 63rd with that. So, yeah, you can't be too off by assuming that he's not performing well when you're ranked 63rd.
Yeah, but I mean, then again, like you look at Circle 2, and somehow he's in 19th place with 45% Circle 2 putting, so... I don't know how good everyone is at Circle 2 putting these days, but like if you're in 19th place and you're making almost half your Circle 2 looks, that's kind of crazy.
And he had zero of them were made today. So
yeah.
Last but not least, which is a phrase I wish the entire world would just get rid of. Last but not least, but it's an old saying.
You literally just used it.
I know. And then I thought to myself, I hate that saying.
Be the change you want to see, Terry.
Okay, I will. We have Chris Dickerson.
Yep. Dang, look at him. He's little Gavin Babcock on the front.
Yeah, let's scroll in. I think you were seeing Gavin's.
Oh, yep, I
But
was.
yeah, 2 down on the front, 6 holes, and then really put it together throughout the middle, along with the bogey on hole number 11. He hit a tree very early, and then he ended up missing from, I want to say, about 40 feet to save the par. Clearly not a very good approach shot, or actually, I don't know how encumbered he was, but I think he hit a tree very early, and that's the hole he aced. So
it's like the whole, giving it back to him.
I guess, like, ouch.
Averages out.
Anything crazy jump out at you as we see, 3 total bogeys? Anything else crazy?
No, I mean, he looks to be playing really consistent. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's one part of the course that he plays that much better than the rest. He just kind of seems to be getting birdies whenever they come his way, and it looks like he's probably looking at a lot of them based on all the blue I'm seeing. Seems to have one trouble hole around.
Yeah, 10, 10, and 8 under, all with a bogey. So looking forward to what should be a pretty exciting finish out there tomorrow. I guess the question then, as I'm going to quickly go back to that, is what does it look like for the chase card? Who else is in the mix? Gavin is tied with Corey Ellis at 26, but then there's a pretty steep drop off, and then I think it becomes that conversation of, if Matty O shot 18 under, that still might not be enough. Well, it definitely probably won't be enough, because there's so many.
If Matt Orm shot 18 under, he could definitely win.
Okay, correction.
I mean, he's only 7 back of the lead.
So if he shot 18, that pushes him to 41. That would force Wysocki to shoot an 11. To tie, and you'd have to shoot a 12, which is all day. I mean,
all day. Yeah. I mean, I haven't done it yet, so all day tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe that's a little drastic. If Conrad or Orem shoot 18, yes, they likely have a good chance to take this, but they have to shoot a full 18.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely opportunities. I mean, it's unlikely to shoot an 18. There are definitely a few eagle opportunities on this course. All the par 5s are eagleable, but I mean, just playing that clean is very unlikely. I mean, I feel like it's probably down to the top whatever 5 people. Corey Ellis, myself, Ricky, Chris, Gavin Babcock. I feel like it's probably down to us. It would take a pretty incredible round from Matt Orem, because he's got to make up 5 on Chris, 6 on me, 7 on Rick, 3 on Gavin and Corey. I mean, it's just a lot of people to make up quite a bit of strokes on. So, I mean, once again, if it was like one person, it might be possible, but there's
so many 5 talented. Yeah, and you're talking about yourself, Dickerson, and Ricky, literally 3 out of the highest 4 or 5 rated players in the world. So that's a big, to borrow one of Ian's terms from this weekend, that's a really big ask, is not only for them to play beyond exceptional, but then also to get the help of 3 or 4 people falling back. And it's just, those odds aren't real likely. A couple other things that jump off the page at you. You see Drew Gibson had we'll call it an eventful back 9. Right.
Yeah, it looks like he was shooting a pretty good round until 17 and 18. Not sure what happened to him there, but I mean, 3 up on the last 2 holes is not what you want to do. I mean, it happens to a lot of people on 17, but 18 is kind of one of the more gettable par 5s. Like, it seems like if you just throw your tee shot in bounds, that you can salvage a birdie from most places. So seeing a double bogey there probably really hurt.
Yeah, compare that to an Ezra who went 3 down in the last 2 holes, as opposed to what we see from Drew. Eagle McMahon started out on a heater today, ran into some troubles. The downhill hole number 8 kind of stalled out, but then started to put it back together. And when it was all said and done, moved up
16 spots.
So, really solid to see that. I think that's for all of the Eagle fan club out there. I think that's really promising, because he obviously struggled with that 2 under, which he opened the tournament with, came back with a solid 8 under yesterday, and then a 10 under today, clearly trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
And then speaking of other top players in the world and fan clubs, Paul McBeth fan club not feeling so hot tonight.
Yeah, Paul had a rough one today. I got to play with him. Just kind of seemed like he struggled off the tee, caught a lot of early trees, and when you're doing that on that course, it just makes it very difficult because it's just hard to progress on the fairway. Yeah, not what we typically see out of Paul, but it's what happened today, and unfortunately, that kind of takes him out of contention for this event.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of praise that gets thrown around, and you always think McBeast mode, blah, all those other really favorable things you might be able to say, but right now it's just down to math, and there's just really no chance whatsoever, no matter how good he plays. Good, bad, or indifferent, you think about the guy that's trying to chase down the most majors, and he talks about catching Climo and everything else, and someone like yourself's like, yeah, cool story, bro. I don't mind beating you this week. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just chasing my first one, so
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, exactly. I just think it's easy for whether it's the media or the fans to get caught up in all of the hype that is what he's done, and then think you don't care about any of that. You have your own legacy to create.
Yeah, I mean, Paul's done great stuff, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's just stuff he did in the past. It's not really what he's going to do in the future per se. I'm just out here trying to shoot the best I can, regardless of what Paul's doing on the course.
Real quick, speaking of the past, you got to talk about one of the legends of the game in David Fellberg. I quickly looked at some things earlier today to see that he had no bogeys during the round, which is always impressive. He did have a couple. It looks like he's really struggled, kind of like Paige on hole number 1. But I think back to the last time I saw him playing in a big event. I forget which. It might have been USDGC or some other major or some really large scale event. And I just thought, like, he wasn't tearing up the course, but he wasn't getting any bogeys. And he's got a few here this weekend, and they're smattered in. But it's just interesting to see where his game is at, and to think that he's age protected. He's 43, 44, within a few months of me, somewhere in that neighborhood. And to see him still playing the golf that he is, just pretty incredible. I mean, tied for 32nd. That's nothing to sneeze at whatsoever. So, when you think about the field this weekend, certainly the single most competitive field, 97 out of 100 competitors at 1,000 or above.
Yep.
Will anyone 6 months from now or 6 years from now be like, yeah, but that major, that one had a super stacked field? Like, is there any more significance to it just because of the qualification process and everything else?
I don't think so. Honestly, I think we're still at a point where our fields are just going to become better and better and more competitive. So I don't think anyone's going to look back at this event 5 years down the road and think, wow, that major win was incredible because of how stacked the field was. Because I think the field in 5 years is going to be way better than it is now.
Okay. So you think this is possibly even the start of what's to come in terms of seeing lots of our majors and biggest events, a threshold of 1,000 might be the norm.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely going to become more the norm. The field size here is smaller, I feel like, than a lot of our other events that we play. So it's kind of easier to reach that threshold. But because I feel like normally we have 100 plus competitors.
120, 140.
Yep. So, and then even at Worlds, I feel like our fields are bigger. So, I mean, the bottom of the field may not be quite as highly rated, but I think the fields, are progressively going to get better and better. And there's going to be a point in time where maybe even 1,000 isn't in the field. So, and I really don't think we're that far away from that. Like, I don't.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah, I think in pretty near future, like the bottom of the field, maybe like 10-10, 10-20 rated. It's just, it's happening very quickly. There's a lot of young talent coming up, and they just got to get their driver's license so they can actually get on the road and drive themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And we have seen that. Someone like yourself obviously started pretty young as well, but seeing the likes of Gannon Burr, who is right now most prolifically fits that description that you just mentioned. But it wasn't too long ago. Kyle Klein, same idea. Won the next gen event, and couldn't even drive the car home that he won, or actually he cashed in a bunch of money. But Silas Schultz a number of years ago couldn't even drive home the car that he won from the NADGT Tour after playing such incredible golf. So it's certainly pretty incredible to see. As the board's asking, you haven't won a major.
Nope. But I also haven't played that many.
Yeah, I mean, it's of course a few of them have been cut out in the last 2 years due to COVID.
Yeah.
But how many total have you even played in?
I mean, I started touring second half of 2018. So I played I played 2 that year. I played, I think 2. Yeah, I played 2 in 2018, 2 in 2019, 1 in 2020, 2 in 2021, and then there's like a few before that were scattered. There were more like vacation trips because I wasn't actually touring. So like,
sure.
So like I mean, somewhere around 10, we'd say.
Yeah, and I think just because you're one of the highest rated players in the world and you've established yourself as one of the best in the world, I think there's just this, we quickly forget how you're still relatively new to the game, as opposed to a Paul, as opposed to some of these other players that have been competing. And then also the fact that yourself, unlike Paul, you haven't gone international to them. And I think that, obviously you may miss out on anywhere from 1 or 2 of them a year, whether it's a Japan Open or a European Open or whatever they've been. By not traveling international, you've taken yourself out of the running for a couple as well.
Yeah, I mean, since I've started touring, I've only missed 1 international major, and that was in 2019 European Open.
Okay.
I wasn't really touring when the 2018 one, 2020 got canceled, 2021 got canceled. So, I mean, there's really only 1 event internationally that was a major that I could have played that I didn't. So, yeah, I just haven't had a ton of opportunities. Yeah, I really haven't toured for that long. I mean, I went to college first instead.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean.
Do you ever regret that?
Do I regret going to college? No, not yet. I mean,
not yet. I mean, do you think you might in the future regret going to college?
No, I don't think I'll regret that. I think it was good. I mean, I was nowhere close to good enough to make it on tour coming out of high school.
Okay.
I was no Kyle Klein, Cole Riddell, Gannon Burr. I wasn't like a 10, 20 rated player coming out of high school. I still had a lot to learn, and somehow I figured it out while I was in college. And yeah, once that was over, I gave this a go, and it turns out I guess I was good enough. But I don't think it would have been as easy going at it as like a 1,000 or 10 rated player out of high school.
Well, and let's be fair, things have progressed very quickly in the last few years. So the fact that you weren't on tour grinding harder during those years and instead you were getting your degree, I think in the long term is also going to play out in your favor as well.
Hopefully.
Well, here's the bigger question. Do you hope that you never have to rely on your degree or fall back on, or even, dare I say, utilize it like in any professional capacity? Is that kind of a hope?
Yeah, I mean, that would be sweet if I never had to actually use my degree and I could make disc golf my career for the remainder of my working days. But yeah, we'll see how it all plays out and how it all goes down. Certainly I'll be touring for the near future. And I mean, I feel like it'd be pretty silly to stop now. Definitely feel pretty good about my game. I'm competing for the win at quite a few events, and I'm in a good place.
What would we'll get really philosophical or not? What would a major win do for your career? Like if we fast forwarded 18 hours or 20 hours from now, whatever it would be, right after tomorrow, the final putt drops, you're crowned a major winner here at the Champions Cup. What changes for you?
I mean, I have a major win. I mean, as dumb as it sounds, like nothing really changes. I mean, I have like that little tick mark by majors, and I
Mm-hmm.
have like a major win, but it doesn't. I don't think it really changes much for me. Maybe it changes the way people look at me and how my career has gone. But for me personally, it doesn't really change much. I still have to drive to Jonesboro next week and prepare for that event. Like,
You're not getting a helicopter?
no, I'm not like getting a helicopter to Jonesboro.
Could you rent? No, Ricky, because if you beat him, he wouldn't like that. I was gonna say, could you just rent some time in his helicopter?
Yeah, I'll just drive. I'll just drive to Jonesboro with all my stuff.
Yeah, and I keep thinking back to, I mean, there's probably this assumption or this question of you not having a major, but I do think of your career still relatively young. So, and you not having that many opportunities yet. Obviously, if it were 5 years from now and you had 0 majors, you'd be like, oh, okay, well, he's kind of missing that. But I don't feel that way about you yet because, like you said, you haven't had that many opportunities. So, ballpark it in whatever way you feel comfortable. What is a major victory in terms of sponsorship look like? Is that a bonus check? Is that sometimes a limited run of discs? What kind is that? Share as much as you're comfortable, but what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely bonuses associated with winning large events, and there could possibly be a run of discs. I mean, that's kind of dependent on. I mean, there's nothing written into my particular agreement about a run of discs, but it is something that does happen quite a bit with big wins. I wouldn't discount it, but yeah, there's that, and then I mean, it's just another little accolade to kind of legitimize your position in the sport, so that and more sponsorship talks. When you're trying to renew your contracts, it just gives you a little more
Major.
a little more weight to throw around. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like I feel pretty good. I'm out there competing for the win most weeks, so.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's second guessing your skill sets and your rank and overall positioning, but it's like you said, a little check mark. And it feels like, and I mean this in the best possible way for all manufacturers and all players, it feels like an easy cash grab though when you win a major. Yeah. Hey, we're going to release an extra 1,000 or 5,000 discs that commemorate that. I feel like that's kind of become the standard.
Yeah.
And whether you directly benefit from it or it's just your sponsor or manufacturer or hopefully a combination of the two, it feels like an all too easy cash grab because every Kelvin fan should want a major commemorative disc.
For sure. I would hope. Or maybe not. I don't know. They want what they want. I'm not really sure what the fans want. But.
Who makes up your fan club?
My fan club. He's right here in the comments. Grant Britton.
Hey, Grant. We saw Grant last weekend in Florida, right?
Yep.
He was out walking around when he was doing some tumbling things down the fairways. But Grant, good to see you out there. So is he president of your fan club or just a member? Active member?
He's not responsible enough to be the president of my fan club. So
okay.
He's just like a big fan in the fan club. I don't know who the president is, but Grant is up there, a high-ranking member.
Okay. Reading it, Grant says Innova is so good at releasing discs. So let's give you. I mean, you did a lot of promoting of your discs with some of the Throw Down the Mountain coverage we did, which was presented by Discraft. But you did some great promotion, which I'm all about, because you graciously did the skins match along with the course preview, which people seem to really enjoy. How are some of the ways that fans and others can support you in what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, easiest way. I mean, honestly, just if you buy a Calvin disc, I get a portion of it. But like, I don't know. It doesn't need to happen. If you're a fan, just go and watch all my stuff on YouTube. I try to get in as many of those extra content videos as I'm invited to. So I don't know. If you're a fan, you're a fan. You don't have to like buy anything, but that is kind of how I do make my living in the grand scheme of things. But.
I mean, now's the time when you can tell them what to do.
Well, yeah, you can buy my discs on the Innova Factory Store website, or
Mm-hmm.
like I think the Millennium stuff's on Discs Unlimited, and then I also have some stuff with my logos on it at Flight Factory and Gander.
Now, this season, we're getting off subject entirely, which is expected. This season, during the off season, it felt like there was a much more concerted effort to expand your branding a little bit,
Yeah.
get a logo. You have official representation. All of those types of things have been happening. How much of it do you want to be hands-on versus what are you just happy that other people are dealing with?
I mean, I'm happy to be pretty hands off with it. There's just a lot to just deal with while traveling on the road playing disc golf. So it's really nice to have someone dealing with a lot of the extra stuff for me. It allows me to spend a little more time relaxing and focusing on my game, and kind of just being able to be more present on the disc golf course rather than having my head in other places.
And even prior to that, though, you didn't necessarily find yourself too distracted with it. It was just something that you were okay with having on the back burner. Is that a good way to put it?
I think neglected is the right word.
Okay. Okay. That's a more direct way to put it. So you had previously neglected it. Was it you or others that made you realize, hey, this needs to be more of a priority?
I'm sure it was told to me plenty of times by plenty of people. Um, so I would say it was others. It was others that kind of there's a buildup of, and eventually I decided to listen.
Well, I mean, and to be fair, when you're talking about contract negotiations, right, wrong, or indifferent, social media presence, your overall following, your fan base, all of those things help move discs
Yeah,
and help move product. And therefore, your stock with Innova or any other potential sponsor is going to be that much more valuable if you bring a following in addition to your great play, right?
for sure. Yeah, there's definitely a value to whatever social media, YouTube, any kind of extra presence definitely has value.
Okay. And quickly, I don't even know if I know all the details, but quickly explain what your relationship is with Millennium. How does that work? You know, knowing that obviously you're a member of Innova's team, how does that relationship kind of unfold?
Yeah, basically my relationship with Millennium is they're like a secondary disc sponsor for me. They put my name on the Draco, so that's my signature disc with them. I have a signature run that's like all the Quantum Dracos have my name on them, and then they generally do like a special release of, I think it's like Lunar Quantum, basically the Glow
Mm-hmm.
Champ, but yeah, they generally do a special stamp with those throughout the year as well. Innova allows it because they make all of Millennium's discs. Innova allows us to have kind of secondary disc manufacturer sponsors as long as they make the product at their warehouse.
So, and hence the reason why we saw for many years some Innova players throwing Discmania discs for quite a few years, and now that
Mm-hmm.
relationship is a little bit changed and altered, we're not really going to be seeing that as much, I think, moving forward. But Millennium being one of the disc
Yep.
manufacturers, and to put it out there, it's kind of in the similar sense that you sometimes will see Chris Dickerson, for instance, today throwing a Bonsai, which I believe is a DGA disc, but
Yep.
is technically molded and manufactured by Discraft, and therefore sometimes they'll be interchangeable. And Katrina, for example, I believe has the ability to throw any Discraft disc that she wants.
Yep.
However, she's made it very clear that she's really happy with the DGA exclusive lineup that she's had. But usually those types of things are all worked into the contracts. And so
Mm-hmm.
DGA, Discraft, Innova, Millennium, some of those relationships are quite long-standing and
Yep.
happen quite a bit. As they did with Discmania. And like I said, until Discmania branched out and started offering and having other people manufacturing their discs, did it get a little bit more dicey.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't really speak on their relationship. I don't really know that much about it. So
How much how much insider info, like how much like nitty-gritty drama and details do you know that you just simply can't or won't speak of? or do you stay intentionally ignorant of some of that?
What's our scope
So,
here?
the scope is, well, like you just said, you can't necessarily speak on the Discmania in of a relationship, for instance. There's clearly been a ton of things that have unfolded. Some have been very public, some are certainly a little bit more secretive. And I guess my question is how much, and it's maybe a tough one to answer, but how much do you feel like you know, but you just know you can't share? Or do you kind of steer clear of, do you know what's happening and just front facing, you can only share so much?
No, I feel like I don't really know that much that's really going on behind the scenes. I don't think I'm that in the know. Um, Honestly, if it doesn't really pertain to me, it doesn't really matter. If I needed to know, someone would tell me.
Are you saying, is this your way to stay out of drama?
I'm just saying that I'm not your TMZ source or whatever, Terry. Like I can't give you all the gossip that you're looking for.
I'm not necessarily looking for it in this case, although, well, sometimes I am. But I'm just wondering how much you even know, because some people just don't have it, so they couldn't share it. And some people have all of the information and only share some of it.
I would say I have very little.
Okay. Fair enough. Is this a good time for our quick commercial break? To our friends over at Founders, who do not who do not sponsor this broadcast in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I should also make quick clarification. This is a Disc Golf Guy production, so also not sponsored or endorsed in any way by any of Calvin's sponsors. Probably.
I don't know.
I wouldn't suggest they do. The PDGA, although we're talking about and covering a PDGA major, or the Disc Golf Pro Tour, the Disc Golf Network. I enjoy doing these and will continue to do these, and sometimes they're a little more rowdy than others. But I want everyone to know these are entirely on my own and for the Disc Golf Guy viewers and listeners and whatnot. So that's why I can tell you, Founders, reach out to me. I love Backwoods Bastard. If you've been here for more than one night, you know this, and I love you.
Wow.
Okay. So before we started, this is worth sharing. Maybe. You don't, I asked you don't strike me as much of a drinker of alcohol.
Not normally.
Take it or leave it occasionally. Like how often do you enjoy an alcoholic beverage of any kind?
Depends on what time of the year it is. Off season more so than during the season. And I would say I'm more of a social drinker than someone who's going to go do it on their own.
On their own? What do you mean?
I mean, you would have been drinking that Founders if I wasn't here right now. You'd be sitting here talking to your computer, drinking on your own. I would never be doing that.
It's only because I really like the taste. Like I could go 5 years without having an alcoholic beverage. I just really enjoy the taste of these.
I understand.
So you're saying you would only do it in a social setting, which seems pretty to me. To be fair, this is kind of social for me. Just my friends are digital.
Okay,
they're virtual.
Okay, well, I guess I don't have this setting in my life, so like I don't quite understand.
Okay. But okay. So and when it comes to beverage of choice, a beer, a mixed drink, doesn't any of it matter? Something with an umbrella.
Whatever.
But you could take it or leave it, which is exactly how honestly I feel about it as well.
Yeah, I could take it or leave it.
So who parties the hardest on tour?
It's not my crowd, so I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Good answer. I think that was asked within a Facebook group recently, and a lot of names got mentioned. And it was funny how some people felt like that was quite the outing of sorts to have some of our top players' names consistently mentioned over and over with regards to how much they like to party out there.
So who's the biggest partier on tour?
That's not for me to repeat. You got to go find that answer on Facebook.
Terry Miller.
No, it's definitely not. And I say it all the time that if it weren't for these, I don't prioritize drinking.
fair enough. It's your choice.
Thank you. What comes after this event for you? Jonesboro, right? Which you've won before?
Yep. Jonesboro's next. I won it a couple years ago in 2020. I feel pretty confident there. It's just relatively open course. Distance is definitely important there, I would say, but you also have to keep it in bounds and make putts. But that's everywhere. But I think distance is a little bit of a priority out there. Actually, the next couple weeks are pretty busy. It's Jonesboro, and then a couple days later, I have the skins match at Eagles Crossing, and then DDO starts on Thursday. So that's pretty tight turnaround. So next, 2 weeks, it's almost like there's 3 events. I got basically 8 days of tournament play.
So this is not a sponsored ad in any way, shape, or form, and nor am I at all affiliated with it. Give us the lowdown on this Eagles Crossing matchup that's taking place, though, because of course, understandably, it's receiving some hype.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just another skins match. Whatever GK Pro and OTB have put together this series, and they have these big ones at Eagles Crossing. They kind of collabed with, I want to say, Dave McCormick, and then everyone at Eagles Crossing to kind of make a big event at a magnificent course. So stakes are higher than the normal ones. I'm not entirely sure what the purse is at the event.
I want to say it's like, isn't it like $10,000 or something crazy like that?
It's possible, but
so you don't know how much money you're playing for. Eagles Crossings.
No, I'm just doing it because it sounded fun.
Okay. And who are we going to see involved with that?
Brody Smith, Scott Stokely, Eagle McMahon, and myself.
And how did you specifically get into that eclectic group?
Well, I was not the first choice.
Ouch.
Yeah. Originally, that little 4th spot that I'm on right now on your screen was occupied by one Richard Wysocki.
Oh.
But I guess he was too cool for the event, and he dropped, and they asked me if I wanted to play. So his loss, my gain.
Hopefully. Yeah. So I'm going to put it in the comments myself. Again, I have no affiliation. I love me some GK. I've heard, of course, amazing things about this Eagles Crossings and whatnot, Eagles Crossing. But I don't know any of the other details. So make sure you click on that. I know there's been a lot of hype around it. It's talked about as one of this incredible course.
Yeah.
And obviously getting some big names to come out there. They have spectator passes available. And it's taking place on the 26th. And then it looks like there's a morning schedule and then of some things going on. And then an afternoon skins match starting at 1:40. Oh, no, it ends at 1:45. So skins match starts at sometime 10 o'clock.
Yep.
All right. And you have not been to that property, correct?
Nope. I haven't been to that property. I've heard some amazing things. I'll probably go back and watch the last skins match they had there to get a little preview before I go there. I started watching it at one point, but I did not get to finish. So I just need to see pretty much the second half of the course. And but yeah, I mean, it's an incredible property. Philip Samuels, I believe, is the guy that owns it. He has a crew there, and he's put a lot of money, time, and effort into it, along with the help of Dave McCormick, I think is the course designer.
Yep.
And it's turned out to be apparently one of the best courses on the planet. So I'm really excited to go check it out.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. Usually I don't get too hyped up about those things only because there's a million things going on, but obviously they've done a really good job of creating hype. I think Scott Stokely, that's obviously one of his fortes is to create hype. So to see him involved, I don't know if he's got, I mean, he's your classic showman in disc golf and used to wow everybody, but that was 1999. And you guys have found a way to catch and surpass what he's doing.
I was like 4 back then.
Yes. So Scott has certainly, and then of course Brody has really come along and is an incredible player now in his own. And I guess the real question is Eagle McMahon going to be healthy, and is he going to be ready to go for it? Because
I mean, we see him playing this week. Obviously, he struggled round 1. I got to actually play with him round 1 and kind of saw kind of some of the troubles he had.
Mhm.
But obviously he's turned that around and he's played much better rounds 2 and 3. So, I mean, I know he's not 100%. Obviously he's still kind of nursing some injuries and isn't using his forehand quite as much as I know he would like to, or to its full capacity. But since he's here, I'm pretty sure he'll be out there.
Okay. And real quick, what did you notice in round 1? You just said he didn't use his forehand as much. Did he seem like everything was, I mean, he only shot a 2 under, obviously struggled a little. To you, what if you had to give a recap or an analysis of what you saw, what comes to mind? Was his putting off? Was his driving off? Was there
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, he missed one really short putt on hole 7. It might have been like 18 feet, which is very uncharacteristic for him.
Mhm.
But other than that, like, it was really only a couple of holes that I can really think of. Hole 9, he took a triple bogey, which honestly, it's hard to imagine taking a triple bogey on that hole.
Yeah.
It's not like the easiest hole in the world, but it's not that hard of a hole to par. So taking a triple bogey definitely loses you a ton of strokes. And then 18, I want to say he finished with a bogey 6 as well, and that's
Yep.
one of the easier birdies on the course in my opinion. So, I mean, really, he pars that and maybe birdies 18. That's 5 strokes right there. His 2 down to 7 down, and we're not even talking about Eagle struggling right now.
Yeah,
because he's still in the tournament and possibly.
Yeah, and then the way he's bounced back.
Yeah,
like you were just saying, you eliminate a couple of those easy mistakes, and then he bounces back with an 8 under and a 10 under, and he's having what seems like a pretty normal weekend, barring those things. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Since, believe it or not, we've been going like an hour and some.
Yep.
It's always great to actually hide these chat. It's become a skill throughout 10 years of trying to read chats and then seamlessly either steal like the brightest ideas or questions and then integrate them. But then I also find that when sometimes a guest or somebody who's watching or tuning in from home or coming in from home and they start reading the chat, it's easy to get distracted by it. Do you find that happening?
Yeah. It's very easy just to look at the chat and forget what Terry's saying.
Exactly. So here's what I'm going to do. In the interest of time and actually not letting this go like 6 hours tonight. If you guys have some legitimate questions, let's see if we can hammer through those relatively quickly, and then we're going to actually start to wrap things up. As much as this has gone on for as long as it has already, which is awesome. So thank you guys for joining us. Apparently you're a big draw. I got 3 times more people tonight than we had yesterday.
Well,
but I've got less backwards.
I mean, my expectations were I was hoping for at least 5
people.
5 people.
My channel, albeit, is far from Jomaz. I've got some really amazing people that are out there watching.
I know.
And all I get sometimes
you got like 80-something thousand YouTube subscribers.
Yes, I think I'm up to like 83 or 84,000. Here's the sad part about that is my kids, my daughters who are 11 and 13, them and their friends find that more impressive than anyone else because YouTube's is not quite a currency, but YouTube is a lingo to these kids these days. Like, your dad has, yeah. I don't know. Thank you guys for jumping on and enjoying it. What is fun about these, which I would like to do more of, is the fact that typically I'm alone, but if we get into a habit, we could have you every week.
It's possible we could.
I mean, look how much we coordinated tonight, unintentionally. He's got some flamingos and palm trees, and I show up with like little sea turtles, and we did not plan this, folks.
So, do you shop at Ross too?
I do.
Shop at Ross if you want to look like us.
If you want some of this drip, as the kids say.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't know.
Cole Dallin gave me I've only had a few words with Cole, but yesterday when I ran into him, he said, "Hey, does anybody tell you that you look good with your sunglasses on?" I said, "I don't think so." He said, "Well, you do." I'll take it.
Yeah. Sure.
I'll take it where I can get it. So let's answer some questions and then we'll start to shut things down.
All right.
I've got another backwoods to attend to here in a second. How about you read some questions? I'm going to get one.
All right.
Click on that button.
I don't know what button you're talking about.
The little scrolly button.
Scrolly button. All right. Well, I don't know what he's talking about, but whatever. Did Calvin hit the market at Coachman on hole 1? I don't know if I've ever hit the market, but I've definitely thrown it across the road while throwing other people's discs. Because
what's the market?
There's just this little fruit stand / place where you get drinks or snacks, and it's across the road from the disc golf course. But if you just launch it from hole 1's tee pad, you can throw it across the road at it.
Coachman?
Yeah, it's the other local course in Clearwater.
I played there with the champ
With
in like 1999.
Well,
you were like 4.
I was like 4. Calvin, how do I keep the nose down and throw those low ceiling drives? Well, I don't actually really know. I just feel like if you just go and find yourself a low ceiling shot and you just continue to hit the ceiling, eventually you'll figure out how to not hit the ceiling. And for a lot of people in Florida, we have a lot of like low ceiling holes. So it's kind of how disc golf, I feel like, is played, at least around where I'm from. So like you'll see a lot of Floridians throw a lot of low driven shots. Like I can think of someone you guys probably have also seen, Johnny McRae. It's something he was always very good at. And it's just something you kind of have to learn how to do when you're playing under like low oak branches, because as soon as you hit one of them, your disc is immediately swallowed and
sucked in.
Yep, you go nowhere. So
along those lines, quickly, it very much feels like a lot of our disc golf progress or development is maybe a better word, is found within the area in which you grow. So what I mean by that is Michael Johansson, and if you're from North Carolina, you're probably really good at, if you're good at hitting lines, playing tight wooded shots. If you're from Texas, you probably throw farther than the average bear. If you're from Oklahoma or Kansas, you're probably a slightly better wind player, right? I mean, maybe some of those feel obvious, but I guess what you're saying is hitting low lines and low ceilings is a byproduct of playing in Florida and growing up and learning there, right?
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, well, shameless plug for you. Oh, they get to see that now?
Oh, what? No, you just hit somebody.
That.
What did you do?
Yeah, we got to show it on the screen. You see that, Terry? Dang, look at that. You got a fan. Thank you to Hydroponics.
Thanks.
Boom.
I don't even know how this works, whatever you clicked
You
on.
just click the show button.
Oh, okay.
That's not what you didn't want me?
No, that's fine. I don't care.
All right, let's see.
You've now just gotten producer credits for this evening's show.
Yeah, this one right here. How are you going to beat Ricky tomorrow? Well, you didn't say tomorrow, but Tomo, I assume tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw 2 less shots than him. That's how I'm going to beat him.
He's won 6 majors.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them included this course.
Well, sounds like an uphill battle, but
3 out of 7. He'd probably like that.
Of course he would.
But
I would like 1 of 1 too. Like,
1 of 1.
Chris Dickerson would like 1 of 2. Like, I mean,
and Gavin.
Anyone. Gavin would like 1 of 1 too. He's in my boat.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's see.
Grow the afro back. What determines your hairstyle what determines that? Once
the hair becomes a nuisance to me, I cut it off. So Texas, it was super windy and it kept hitting me in the face, and I said, bye-bye hair. And last year at Worlds, it was just too hot for it. So I said, bye-bye hair.
And I feel like maybe Beacon Sports Management gave me some bad info saying that Kristen Brittany cut your hair, or that Brittany cut your hair.
No, Brittany did not cut my hair. I have no clue what her talents are or if she's good at it or not, but she did not do this to me.
Okay. Great clips?
Yeah.
Great clips, folks. I do like sports clips.
I probably should have gone there.
Next time.
Great Clips, the place where you go and they always ask for your information every time because it's never saved in their system.
We've talked about it. Yeah. All right. What else do we got here?
All right.
Wow, this whole show feature, and it goes right over my lower third even. So it's
Do
almost
you
seamless.
ever make appearances at local disc golf shops?
Not ones you're not sponsored by. Yeah, you do probably. Would you?
Occasionally I show up to them, but honestly, most of the times, no. I'm just generally doing other things, and generally when I roll into a disc golf shop, it's probably with someone else that wants to go there to get something, and it's not planned. So
If I organized a signing like I did with Eagle and Simon last year, but I organized a signing with you, maybe or maybe not including a brewery / pro shop in Wisconsin, would you come to it?
could be fun. If the
Okay.
time was right, it could be a fun thing to do.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Any interest in doing overseas events in lesser known disc golf countries like Japan, Australia, New Zealand?
I've been to all of those places.
Yeah, I mean, all those places sound amazing. If the time of year was right and it seemed financially worth it, or I could put a vacation in there with it, yeah, it could definitely be possible. It's just got to work out with the rest of the major schedule.
So, totally hypothetical here. December, 2-week trip to Australia, and part of that was playing a B tier event they were running, and then maybe hosting a clinic. And your out of pocket expenses were zero. Would that interest you?
Yeah, that could be fun. I probably
You want to travel with me?
Maybe. We'll have to talk about it later. Can't give away the details to everyone here.
Okay.
Can't publish that on the internet before it's
all right.
real.
I got ideas.
I have no clue. We'll just scroll really far. Okay. What's your go-to fairway driver other than the Eagle?
Is there another one?
Yeah, the dark green disc is a T-Bird. It's been in my bag since 2012. It's my flippy fairway driver.
And speaking of other discs, a Draco is very similar to a Firebird, correct?
Yeah, I would put those under utility disc category.
Sure, but I just wanted for my own personal clarification.
Yeah, the Draco is very similar to Firebird. Probably a smidge less overstable, like a flat top
like a
Firebird.
Sexton Glow Firebird.
Probably more overstable than a lot of those. Actually, it depends on which year of Sexton. I haven't thrown them all, but there's a wide variance in stabilities there. But like a truly overstable Firebird is more overstable than the Draco.
Okay.
Which I like because I can have a Firebird, then I got my Draco, and the Draco pushes like an extra 30 feet, and then I have like a beat up one that pushes maybe an extra 45, 50 feet over the Firebird.
How many Firebirds do you bag?
One. I bag one Firebird, 2 Dracos.
And how stable is that one Firebird?
It's the most overstable disc in my bag.
What is it? Just a stock Champion Firebird, or is
it's just an old Champion Firebird, super flat, super stiff plastic. It actually has like a factory second stamp on it, so nothing fancy.
Okay. I said last night that I said a lot of things last night, to be clear, but one of the things I think I said last night is 90% of the world shouldn't be throwing Firebirds because they're too much disc for them.
Everyone
like
needs
the
a good
general,
disc.
unless it's a utility shot, yeah. But just the general population, because I went off on my own self rant about two things, at least two things. One was was identifying discs in live or post-production coverage. Yeah. I said, I'm just personally, I don't harp on it too much. It's great that it happens and whatnot, but I also said, like you just said, you have 2 Dracos that may or may not fly anything like a brand new Draco off the shelf. Or if you carry 4 destroyers, they all probably fly very differently, and you throw nothing like I throw. Therefore, why do I care what destroyer you're throwing? That, and I would love to get your take on this. The other rant I went on, soapbox that I jump on all the time, is how many players habitually exceed 30 seconds?
I don't know. There's probably a lot of us. I might even do it sometimes. I have no clue. I've never put a clock on myself. I feel like 30 seconds, honestly, is like, I think the number is less important and it's more important that you're just keeping pace with the course.
Okay,
As
so you have
long
the
as your
Nate Doss
card's not-
approach.
As long as your card's not slowing down the course, like I really don't think there's an issue. And maybe a really slow player is getting bailed out by having a couple really fast players on their card, but in the end, that's fine. As long as they're not slowing the pace of play down, I don't really care. But when you have a card backing up the course, or even if they're on lead card, and I think it also becomes an issue. If you're on lead card and you're playing really slow and you're taking a long time basically to avoid conditions on like a windy day, that is an issue. So I think like even lead card has to keep up with the card in front of them. It's not just slowing down the course. It's you need to be keeping pace with the cards in front of you.
Okay. Tomorrow, Sunday, final round.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be interested to see how the pace is.
Yeah, if it's raining, it's going to be really slow.
It might be slow for other reasons, and I'm going to leave it at that. All right.
Wow.
So,
Are we going to be thinking too much?
Okay. Well, yeah. So it's interesting to hear you talk about this then too. Do you feel like it's super advantageous for people to know what discs are constantly being thrown? And I hate that somebody else thought I was somehow throwing some shade or being in any way disrespectful. I'm curious for you. Do you feel like that's a sponsorship opportunity or a branding opportunity? Or do you feel like that's crucial that if Macbeth is throwing a 4-time buzz as opposed to throwing a 10-year buzz, as opposed to throwing an X buzz versus an ESP buzz, especially when he doesn't throw like most people in the world?
I mean, it probably matters to him because, I mean, it'll be easier for him to sell whatever disc it is with his name on it, most likely.
Sure. So for promotional advertising.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more beneficial to, the manufacturers and the people that are making royalties off of those discs than it probably is to the people watching, because they're most likely not going to be throwing on the same level as Paul Macbeth.
So have you thought about going maybe somewhat of a hybrid Yuli route where you maybe you should report to Ian tomorrow and say, hey, just all 18 shots I'm throwing to Draco. Like you always want to be advertising, or a Heimburg destroyer, just literally on every hole. That's what I would do. Like, what was that? Heimburg destroyer.
Maybe that's smart, but I'm not out here to lie to my fans.
Oh, okay. We're back to the fans. Okay. All right. Let's get back to the fans. What do we got?
We'll scroll.
You're going to just randomly scroll.
How do you throw smooth, controlled turnovers consistently? Practice. Lots of practice. A lot of times it's just getting the right disc, finding a disc that you're comfortable with, and leaning on that disc very heavily. I definitely have some discs in my bag that I lean on very heavily for that kind of shot. And a lot of it's just finding the exact right angle to throw that disc at. And once you have that dialed in, you're golden.
Here's not just what you said, but also backing up what I said. Today on hole 11, was it 11? No, sorry. Hole 3, Chris Dickerson. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, as I was just wandering around in the field. Chris Dickerson, I believe, was reported. He threw a force.
Mm-hmm.
Backhand, righty on hole 3.
Uh-huh.
Turned over beautifully. Finished perfect spot in the fairway.
Okay. So what are you telling me?
Tell me what player that's not rated. Tell me a player rated sub 1,000 that is throwing a turnover force that lands perfectly in the middle of the fairway like Chris Dickerson did. Nobody's doing it. I'll answer for you. No one. No one in their right mind is thinking, hey, I've got this turnover shot at like 400 feet. I think I'm going to throw my force so it turns over and Anheuser's perfectly into the fairway. Am I right?
I mean, I think there's plenty of people sub 1,000 that can do that. It's just they don't do it consistently. Like I can think of some of my friends I play with back home that could definitely do that, and they're not 1,000 rated.
But who should? Who's thinking, hey, I have a 400-foot shot. It turns over. Chris Dickerson threw a force. That's what I should throw. No.
I can think of one person right off the top of my head that would do
One.
it.
Good.
Yeah.
You want to shout them out?
Cody Larson.
Oh,
He would
good.
probably
1098, Mr. 1098.
Yeah,
Simmer
but
down
he's like,
on Cody.
he's like 977 rated. Or something. So,
My point being, I just remember hearing on the broadcast from Ian and Philo being called out of force. I then walked up to it as I was going to the green, and I looked at it. I'm like, of course, Ian was right. It was a force. And I'm looking at it, and all I thought to myself is, nobody that's not as good as Chris should be throwing a forced turnover on a 400-foot shot, because that's not what a force is made for. And is that force brand new and out of the box, like brand new off the shelf? There's no way it is, right?
It depends. I don't know. Runs are so different. Some forces are probably flippy. I don't have enough experience with that disc, to be honest, but typically they're overstable.
That's my point. Thank you. Calvin agrees.
Through some stuff. All right.
How did it feel beating Ricky for the Ledgestone Trophy at Idlewild?
It was great. You know,
what was the trophy? A big cup?
Yeah, it was a big like glass crystal cup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was really great getting to take that from him. I mean, he carried it from Ledgestone to Idlewild.
Just hand it over to you?
Yeah, it was great to have him hand it over to me.
Is that at your parents' place? Is that on the mantle?
Yeah, that's back at home. Just sits on a little shelf.
How much do trophies matter to you?
Not that much.
I don't mean that. Cool. That's not disrespectful, but like in this day and age, especially with someone like yourself, first of all, a second or a third or a fourth, because you're so good, likely don't ever even make the cut. But if a first place trophy makes the cut, it has to be really, really unique. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're correct there.
And that's why I have a handful of non-first place trophies from top level professionals that were like, I don't care. Well, but it's funny when I put them up, because I'm like, oh, I got second at USDGC. I mean, I'm not Ricky, but I got second at USDGC. Look at my trophy.
Congratulations on your second place trophy.
All right. Terry, not a spokesman for Innova.
Paul Schneider. Who in this chat can mow my lawn right now? Anyone who is looking for some work, reach out to Paul Schneider here.
Is it dark out, Paul?
He's looking to hire someone to mow his lawn.
He didn't say hire. He just said who can.
Yeah, well, I hope he's willing to pay them. I really do.
Did you mow lawns as a kid?
Nope, I did not.
What? Oh, we cannot dive too deep right now, but I have to ask, what was your first ever paid gig or job?
I mean, it would probably be lawn work, but it wasn't. That was all under the table. I guess I've never, if you're talking about like legitimate job, it would be working as like an AutoCAD tech. And that was back in high school.
For a local what?
Just for a roadway company.
A roadway company?
People that design roads, the things you drive your cars on. People design those.
And you were in high school?
Yeah, I was like senior year. I took AutoCAD class. Oh, I clicked the question, but I took classes when I was in high school for that as well. I throw the Eagle X, just so you know.
I have a whole nother podcast all ready to go another day. I really do. It's actually a genius podcast that I think you guys would like, that I've talked about for like 10 years and haven't done yet. We'll get to that another day. So you throw Eagle X's.
Yep, I throw Eagle X's exclusively.
Do you seek those out then, obviously? The X versus the L.
Yep.
What's the difference?
The Eagle X is more overstable. I mean, realistically, I throw one run of Eagle. I have a bunch of them. New, they're overstable, and they progressively beat up, and they become understable. So I just cycle those in.
Okay. The Eagle, I think it came out in like 99.
Yeah, once again, I was 4.
No, it might have even been a year or two before that. Do you have any use for DX Eagles first runs?
I have no use for those.
Because I have a bunch of them from when I played amateur.
I hit too many trees too hard.
Okay.
They wouldn't do well.
When they came out with the KC Pro Eagle, I was very clever because my nickname was T-Dog. So I just changed it to the KC Pro Beagle. So if you need any of those. Special edition KC Pro
maybe
Beagles.
I'll take a Beagle one day. All right.
All right, what else you got?
Let's see. I don't even know.
It's funny when you read things that are behind in the chat from where we're mentally already progressed to.
Like we're like way
Or
down here.
I mean, you can go wherever.
All right.
Who's your strongest competitor?
Who? Oh,
right.
Well, I didn't click on it, but I don't know. I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. Who's your strongest competitor? Oh, competitive.
Close enough.
Competitor, but I would say it's pretty. I don't know. I mean, it really depends on the course in the week. I feel like, I mean, the obvious ones are Eagle, Paul, Rick, Chris. Those are all, people that are always competing for the wins.
Who ain't shit to you?
Who ain't shit to me? Zach Melton.
Okay.
I got his number. No. Okay. I can only say that because he's my friend.
What's Zach doing right now? Like this minute? What do you suppose he's doing at 11 o'clock?
It's past my bedtime, not past his bedtime, but he's probably laying down in bed. He's got these little balloon leg things. He's probably relaxing, doing some Sudoku puzzles.
Is he watching? Probably not.
Zach, are you there?
We need to know Zach.
Yeah. I don't think he's watching. I think he's most likely just solving little puzzles.
So like straight up regular Sudoku in terms of like 9x9s. How are you on those?
I'm not bad. I haven't done too many recently, but I'm pretty solid at them.
I got hooked on those for a little while, and then I eventually this subsided. Are you a Wordle guy? You don't.
I'm not a Wordle guy.
I got today's Wordle
on the first try.
No. Because that's nothing more than luck.
Then you'd be a cheater.
Well, that's what everyone would assume because, right, you can go out and find the answer, I guess. Mm-hmm. So anyone that gets it on the first try, and it's funny, I was just saying this the other day that I want to eventually, like, I feel like the odds are in your favor that if you play enough Wordle, eventually you're going to just randomly guess the right word on the very first try, but no one will believe you. They're going to assume you cheated because it's nothing more than dumb luck.
Yep.
But then I forget her name, but the woman from This Is Us, I guess, she guessed it on the first, her first guess was it. And she like made a TikTok over it and people went crazy. Natal, it was a week ago or so, Natal. Who's guessing that word for starters? It's like, it's a terrible opening word.
Yeah, why would you have multiple of the same letter?
Exactly. But apparently she guessed it and there was a TikTok over it. And one of these days, I'm going to guess it. I feel like just, the odds. I always go with party. Not always, but often.
Maybe you'll be lucky one day.
Wordle, if you're listening, make party. It's just, then I'll retire. Johnny V posted in Twitter the other day saying that he now has 100 consecutive days of getting Wordle and he thinks he's done with it. He's like, that's good enough for me. I'm done. That's impressive.
Unfortunately, it sounds like his streak is over. He's quitting.
Yeah.
Johnny's a quitter.
Sounds like it. All right. Anything else in here? Terry trying to impress Calvin with his Wordle? No, I'm really not. That's all right. I'm sure Calvin would be pretty good at it. Is there any game you I guess, is Sudoku the game you most religiously play or not so much? Is there any game that you like or quiz or trivia or anything like that you're adamant about?
No, I don't play any of those religiously. I just play all of them occasionally.
Okay. 22 destroy. Oh my gosh, this is a great question, Tomas. Let's click on this. How are the? Oh, did you click on that?
No.
Oh,
my! Come on.
I'm new. I don't ever use this. Here we go. We'll get to Nicholas maybe. Tomas asks, how are the 2022 destroyers compared to the 2021?
Yeah, I feel like generally the 2021 destroyers were very overstable. The ones later in the year not quite as overstable as the ones from the first batch, but this year's it's very color dependent. There are 4 different colors. All the middles are pink, and then the rim colors I think are black, blue, chartreuse, and white. The black rimmed ones are probably the stiffest. The plastic feels a little different too, but from my experience, the black rim ones are the stiffest, have the most dome, and have the most high speed turn, but they still have quite a bit of low speed fade. So I'd call those the most understable. The blue rimmed ones are a little flatter, still pretty stiff. They're pretty similar to like the 2020 Swirly Star Calvin Destroyers. So they're I would say they're stable to slightly overstable. You can get them to turn, and they go really far. And then you have the chartreuse and white rimmed, which are both a little softer, not quite as domey, but definitely the most overstable. Depending on the profile of it may be comparable to like one of the most overstable 2021 destroyers, or just a little shy of it. So if you're looking for a flippier one, go for a black rim. If you're looking for a more overstable one, go for the whiter chartreuse rim.
Do you know how they make Halo?
No, I've never actually been to the factory. I mean, obviously there's 2 different plastics being injected in there. You can make your assumptions. There's still only one little sprue point, so that probably is all going through the same point. I don't know. You can make your guesses. I've made mine.
All right. Does anyone on tour forehand putt?
No, not religiously.
Not on purpose. No. Yeah, not without it being some kind of specialty shot. What's your most favorite thing about playing disc golf?
Just being outside and throwing frisbees. I don't know. It's just nice to be outside and doing something that I find relaxing.
Oh, here's my phone. I was going to show you. I think I found a snake, and I was going to actually. I might put this on. I was going to put this on Instagram and tag possibly you and Madison. A lot of conversation about the snakes and the wildlife out on the course, right?
Yeah, there's been quite a few snakes. I caught a little garter snake today, actually.
Today as well, really? I was going to say, I saw this big snake.
You talking about the vine?
Oh, yeah, it's a vine on a tree. But it looks like it could be a snake.
God,
is there a name?
Golly.
I'm just saying, like, I've yet to see a snake, and every other minute it feels like you guys are posting about snakes. And this is the closest thing that I've seen.
All right. Well, I have your phone number. Next time I find one, I'll make sure to catch it and call you. You better run.
I appreciate that. What are you most looking forward to this season? What tournament?
Maple Hill. I love playing Maple Hill. So I guess MVP Open.
All right. The Terry gets buzzed interview show. Come on. No. Silly. All right. Jordan Walker says nothing religiously, everything occasionally.
Correct.
Okay. Hey, Jordan. Hope you're well. As in Madison's sister, we're going to assume? We assume that's the same Jordan Walker, right?
I have no clue.
I was just thinking about you, Jordan.
Walker. There's probably a lot of Jordan Walkers on the planet.
Okay. Well, for other reasons, I was just, Ryan Pilcher, who was out filming, helping at Throw Down the Mountain, good buddy, says, I just heard an owl outside my house. Can Calvin do Madison's owl call?
I can't call the birds. It's just not a talent of mine.
She did that on our podcast, and it was, I'd like to say impressive, but I don't know what other word I'd use.
I mean, she literally talked to an owl. Like, it worked. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
All right. Sue, you post a lot, and I appreciate you. You said I should probably screen these before I just put them up, but it says, Calvin, are you worried you'll lose your skills or that they will become obsolete before you seek work in chemical engineering?
I'm not currently worried about that. Maybe I should be, but I'm not. I have no clue. I feel like a lot of a degree isn't just like, you learn a lot in school, yes, but you also learn quite a bit on the job. So, not everything. It's not just like, oh, I went to school for chemical engineering, I can do any chemical engineering job now. You're going to learn a lot on job as well. And some of getting the degree, I feel, is just kind of like a proof that you can do problem solving and you're actually dedicated to putting in the work.
Yeah, you displayed that you could put in a few years of that effort. I say this often. Let's say disc golf disappeared tomorrow, fell off the face of the earth, no longer existed, and you went into a professional career world.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the dream job within engineering? Like either a company and or describe like a typical day within engineering that would really excite you.
I don't know. As far as chemie, I don't know. I thought all the there's definitely some jobs as like product R&D, whether it been with like a PNG or I don't know. There's a lot of different places chemies end up, but I felt like some kind of research and development would be where I would want to end up.
Within chemical engineering, research and development.
Yeah.
So for some of those people who aren't smart out there, explain that further. Like, what area of, dare I say, of research and development though? Like,
I mean, I don't think I'm really that picky. I mean, part of the reason why I ended up playing disc golf is because I really didn't have aim. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I just...
You're just a wandering lost soul, and you found this basket in the woods.
Well, no, I already found disc golf. It's just like I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with it. And I was like, well, I can think more about it while I go try this thing, disc golf, because that was basically my only chance to give disc golf a try before I went into the engineering world. It's not like I was going to go and get an engineering job and then
try and hit the road. Yeah,
never make it back into disc golf. So this was pretty much my one chance to do it.
Do you feel like that's becoming a much more popular scenario? I don't know how to just get rid of that. Grant says no. I can't. How do we? Come on, you're the expert here. How do we not show? Okay, there we go. Do you feel like that's become a much more viable and popular solution or opportunity for people to say, hey, I don't necessarily want to go into the quote unquote professional world. Now's my time to try disc golf. And that I don't want to say that's what I'm going to pursue, but it feels like now's the time, and it's so much more viable than it was a few years ago for somebody to say that. Because 10 years ago, if somebody's like, well, I don't know, should I go to school or should I get a 40-hour a week job, or should I go disc golf? Like, disc golf wasn't right on par with those other options, but now it is more than ever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was a very hard choice for me to go like play disc golf or go to college. Like, that was an obvious choice for me. And even I guess it was maybe a little not quite super obvious, like even once I graduated, but it's just kind of what I wanted to do. So I did it. I'm glad I don't have to make those choices now. I've already made them.
I say this all the time. Could you imagine punching a clock 9 to 5 right now though? Like,
no, that's I've done it before.
It seems crazy right now, doesn't it?
Yep. Yeah, no, it is it's a different world.
And that's no disrespect, clearly. I feel like I put in more than 8 hours a day from 9 to 5, and my hours are very shifted, and I'm a guy that's up till 5 a.m. and then, I do sometimes 14 or 16-hour work days depending on the weekend and what's going on. So it's not a matter of that. It's just a matter of like punching a clock and being scheduled for a specific time frame, and then having that same 40-hour work week that feels somewhat monotonous. And you're so far from that, kind of like myself.
Yeah, we definitely don't punch in 9 to 5, but we definitely have plenty of days where you probably more than me, where you work more than 8 hours a day. There's plenty of days where I'm out there practicing, or some travel days are just literally longer than 8 hours. Like, I'll drive for 12 hours sometimes. And maybe that's not the same as going to work, but it sucks all the same.
I was just going to say, it's certainly not glorious. There's no doubt about it. When you have a 16-hour track or a 13-hour track, and whether you do that in one day or you break that up over two, like, cool, this is how I'm spending my time. That doesn't feel great. But you're also rewarded with everything that comes along with being on the road, and then everything that comes from it. That's a whole nother story for another day about how blessed I very much recognize that. I am so incredibly blessed. I feel like you hopefully feel the same. Every week, every month, everything's a little bit different. There's very little monotony. And the fact that if you want to stop and go visit a national park for a day or a day and a half, or for 8 hours or for 3 hours, like that's something that's likely within your realm of possibility. And for a lot of people, there's a lot of people in this world that never leave the state they live in.
Yeah.
Let alone visit 28 national parks in a year.
Yeah, definitely fortunate. Definitely get to see a lot of cool places while on the road. But also, I'm on the road for like 8.5 months out of the year, so I don't, really sleep in my own bed for most of the year, which is kind of crazy to think about.
How's the van life? That's a question that was a little bit of a theme. Is how has the van life been going? You're pretty early in that process.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still probably too early to like make like a hard conclusions about it, but it's really nice having all my stuff in its own special place, and I got a fridge in there, running water. It's really nice having the extra amenities.
I'm excited for a tour.
All right, well, I'll have to show it to you one day.
Okay.
Find me in the parking lot.
Cash me outside. Jordan says, Terry, blessed to be sitting next to the best.
Wow. I guess you're sitting next to me.
Me sitting next to you?
Yeah, I guess.
Or Jordan sitting next to the best, meaning her sister. Is that where this is going?
I have no clue.
Sounds like another.
I love how you're just so convinced
that's Jordan Walker as in Madison's sister. I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, kind of.
Or it could just be another random Jordan Walker.
I feel like that's
not Madison's sister.
I feel like there's.
Why would she be watching?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who this person is.
Either do I. You guys can have fake names. All right, we're literally going to wrap up here soon. Any moment. Calvin winning tomorrow in the chat. Can I get a Calvin is winning tomorrow in chat? All right. You guys can post that. Good night, Calvin. Good luck tomorrow. Get that win, that W. What should it be? Bed down by the river. Sorry, Rick's got this. Ooh, Doug. Ouch, Doug. You're going to disrespect my first ever nightly recap special guest host.
Doug gets banned. Ban Doug from chat.
Let me see. How do I do it? Show. I can't. I think I have to do it on YouTube.
All right,
Doug, you're about to get kicked off the channel.
You lucked out this time,
Doug. Standardized DGT basket, yay or nay? No nubs. You have any strong opinion?
No, I mean, a standardized basket would be cool for sure. Have the same basket everywhere.
There's still going to be something that somebody doesn't like on it, though. Like it's still going to favor a softer putter or a harder putter or a right-handed putter or a left-handed putter or right. I mean, no matter what, no matter what basket is, whether it's unique or it's one of the existing baskets, there's going to be some minor discrepancy or flaw that somebody's going to dislike, right?
Yeah, everyone has different preferences.
Exactly. Baskets. So, yay or nay. Can't wait to watch. It should be fun. Calvin's going to win. Yeah, you got to quit sucking up to Calvin just because he's sitting next to me, and that makes the most sense. Tight lines, Vinny. Calvin, let's go. Bye. Yeah, bye, Doug.
Yeah, can we get a bye, Doug, in the chat?
Yeah, we're done with you. Great chat tonight with Calvin. Do this more often. Thank you, Billy, coming in from Minnesota. I appreciate that. Would you rather fight a bear the size of a duck or a duck the size of a bear?
Yeah, definitely a bear the size of a duck.
A bear? Yeah. Well,
a duck the size of a bear would be scary.
Okay. Speaking of ducks and bears, I saw Paige and Alyssa's new dog. Their second dog. Did you see that one?
I have not seen their second dog.
Also very adorable. If you didn't see it. Grant says, go Eagle on 11. Hole 11. Which one's 11?
I don't know. I haven't thrown it very well this week, so maybe he's right. I think you're wrong, though, bud.
But bye now. All right, guys, we're going to close it out. I seriously can't thank Calvin enough for being my first ever co-host on a nightly recap. Tomorrow night,
I don't know what I'm doing.
This could be awkward. I mean, if you're not the champ. If you are the champ. Here's what I'm going to tell you, and take this as you will. 2017, just a few miles down the road. The year was 2017. Ricky Wysocki wins his second world championships.
Mm-hmm.
What does he do that night?
I don't know.
He joins me and Johnny V on a special Smashbox exclusive Saturday night podcast from our hotel room down the road at the Home to Suites in Grovetown. We're not in Grovetown. We're down the road. So tomorrow night could be a special night for me and Ricky, or me and you.
I'm glad you're leaving your options open.
No, when are you leaving? Do you know?
I'm not sure yet. I don't know if I'm going to leave tomorrow night or
I mean, it
Monday
sounds like
morning.
an Outback Steakhouse kind of celebration night.
Maybe.
So
We'll
if
see.
you win, okay, I swear I'm going to wrap it up. But first, I got to know, if you win tomorrow, when you win tomorrow.
Okay. Wow.
When you win tomorrow. Is Rick watching? When you win tomorrow, will there be a special celebratory dinner place or meal?
There's nothing planned. We'll just see.
Well, if you won though, would you think about like, oh yeah, we'd go to dinner?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, I'd probably go to dinner with some of my friends, and I'd probably buy the dinner.
Wow.
And that would be dinner for
That's
the evening.
Outback?
I don't know. We'll probably have to see what place doesn't have a wait on it Sunday.
It's a
evening,
Sunday
right?
night, so
Yeah.
you have that advantage. Like, I purposely didn't want to go there tonight. Oh, by the way, I eat chicken when I go to Outback, which you can roast me for, which is weird. But I purposely didn't want to go there tonight. I want to treat myself to there maybe tomorrow night or maybe Monday, because it was going to be busy tonight.
Okay.
Saturday. So
Well,
Sunday, it's going to be less busy.
treat yourself.
So my point is, I want to know where you would go.
Basically, you're looking for an invite
No,
to dinner. If I win.
no. Yes. No.
All right. If I win tomorrow, Terry, I will take you out to Outback. Is that what you want to hear?
Yes. I'll bring my own beer because they don't serve backwoods there.
Okay.
I'll
They might
sneak
not
it
let
in.
that in. They
I'll
might.
sneak it in.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. But if you win, when you win tomorrow night, we need to be here after your dinner.
Okay. Fair enough. I'll make it happen.
That's a big time commitment, folks. I mean, come on. It doesn't get any better. We're going to close it out. This has been day 3's recap. I can't say it enough. I appreciate all of you people with no better lives on a Saturday night than to join myself along with Vinny here. I really do appreciate you joining. People are going to call for this all the time now. They're going to want this every event.
That's a big ask.
That's a big ask. That's a big ask. But we do seriously appreciate you guys joining us. Thanks for supporting me via Patreon, via Super Chat, all those things that you guys have done. Also, make sure you go out and buy yourself a Kelvin Heimburg disc, whether it's through Millennium and the Draco and the series that he puts out there, or whether it's through the Innova Factory store and the Destroyers or anything else that he's got his name on, or commemorative 2022 Players Champions Cup, whatever it's called, Champions Cup commemorative disc, whatever it might be. Thank you guys so much for supporting. Thanks for joining.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
It's been fun. All right, we're going to close it out. I'm the Disc Golf Guy. This is Kelvin Heimburg. And tomorrow night, win, lose, or draw, no matter who it is, hopefully it's Kelvin, right? We'll be seeing you guys for hopefully a day 4 recap. We'll see you then. Oh, now I got to click a button. Now what?
I don't know. I think it's over, right?
No, they can still hear us.
I don't know what you have to click.
I'm going to click stop. Say goodnight.
Good night.